The National Hockey League is actually an international league. They use the term national because although there are much more American teams nowadays, it actually started out as Canada's National League. Before you ask, yes, I'm an Australian talking about ice hockey arenas. It's strange, but people kept asking for it, so just pretend this is a Boston accent or something. Anyway, here are the NHL 2021-22 arenas. Oh, and thank you to rateyourseats.com for providing the interior shots you'll see in this video. Honda Center, Anaheim Ducks. The team was founded by Disney and was actually formed the year after the Disney film The Mighty Ducks came out. That's why they used to be called the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. That was a little bit wordy though, so when the ownership changed, so did the name. The interior is a fairly straightforward triple-tiered design. Nothing special but perfectly fine. A solid start. Gila River Arena, Arizona Coyotes. Interestingly, the Phoenix area has an NBA team as well, but they don't share arenas. This is because the Coyotes didn't exist when the NBA arena was built, and it was designed exclusively for basketball. They did play there for a short period though. And while this one has multi-purpose capabilities, hockey comes first. The interior looks incredible, there's certainly a lot more going on than at the Honda Center. I love those corner sections in particular. TD Garden, Boston Bruins. This arena looks a little bit out of place. It's cramped for room and thus the designers had to remain very box-like. It's certainly easy to get to though, it sits directly on top of a train station. On the inside, well, all arenas look a bit box-like. The seats were recently changed to all black from a slightly garish gold colour. It's less distinctive now, but I think it looks a little bit better. KeyBank Center, Buffalo Sabres. I've got to say, it's really not the most aesthetically pleasing arena. From street level, it looks like a giant water tank or something. Could have done with more glass, but to be fair, this section is a little easier on the eye. But the inside is what matters most and it looks great. I'm getting more of an aquarium vibe, which is an upgrade from your typical water tank. Scotiabank Saddledome, Calgary Flames. The name Saddledome is a little misleading. It wasn't intended to look like a saddle and it isn't exactly a dome. But a good counter argument to that is, who cares? Having that concave shaped ceiling isn't just a gimmick, it is actually cost effective. Less volume means less heating and lighting costs. And there's always a chance the arena could secure a lucrative naming rights deal with Pringles. It actually looks way smaller than its nearly 20,000 capacity would suggest. PNC Arena, Carolina Hurricanes. Initially, this arena was intended to just be the home of the NC State Wolfpack basketball team, but they managed to lure the Hartford Whalers to Raleigh to become the Carolina Hurricanes ahead of time. And so the arena was designed for both sports. It's pretty flashy on the inside. Those newfangled 360-degree video boards just make an arena look so much better. This was installed a couple of years ago. United Center, Chicago Blackhawks. It's the biggest NBA arena, but it's not the biggest NHL arena, which you'll see later on. It can still claim to be the biggest American NHL arena though. With its 3 tiers of seating as well as a level of suites in between each one, it certainly does look its size. It also sounds large. The United Center's atmosphere is notoriously loud and intimidating. Ball Arena, Colorado Avalanche. It's not unlike the KeyBank Center's exterior, except it has a lot more going on. It's more colourful and there's a lot more glass used, which is always a plus, except for the local bird population. The interior is fairly typical, but it does have one of those video boards where the screens sort of overlap each other. It's not quite as practical as a 360-degree screen, but still cool. Nationwide Arena, Columbus Blue Jackets. The mostly brick exterior blends in quite well with the surrounding buildings, roads, and even the sidewalks of the arena district. It was all part of the same project. It has a somewhat unique seating layout, which I'm a big fan of, especially these little opera box sections. They're like an exaggerated version of Arizona's. It also includes what was the first attached practice facility in the NHL. The Ohio Health Ice House, spelt the German way because why not? American Airlines Center, Dallas Stars. Although this arena's design is fairly unique in professional sports, it's actually just a more extravagant version of a typical college arena, with its brick facade and arched roof. Although usually it would just look like this, but that crisscross arched roof design, for want of a better word, does look quite good from the inside, as does the arena as a whole. Little Caesars Arena, Detroit Red Wings. Before this place came along, the Red Wings and the Pistons each had their own arena, but I'm sure they don't mind sharing if this is the result. It's one of my favourite arenas, especially its space-age interior, which doesn't necessarily match the exterior, but that doesn't matter at all. I particularly like the ceiling, which looks like it could give everybody in the building a nice dark tan. The cube-like video board matches it perfectly. I love everything about this arena. Rogers Place, Edmonton Oilers. I don't know who Roger is, but he has good tastes. The arena's exterior, made from metallic cladding and glass, is very sleek and equally stylish. One of the best looking in the league, I reckon. It also has a very futuristic interior, but not necessarily what you see from your seat, but the concourses and whatnot. Having said that, the view from your seat is also quite impressive. FLA Live Arena, Florida Panthers. It's situated right on the edge of the Everglades, the natural habitat of the Florida panther. How fitting. Come to think of it, you don't see too many mammals for nicknames in the NHL. I guess a panther wouldn't be the most agile creature across the ice. If you do happen to be lucky enough to afford a luxury suite, this arena has the largest in the country on average. You could say there's room to swing a panther. Staples Center, Los Angeles Kings. It likes to call itself the sports and entertainment capital of the world, and having hosted basically every major indoor event, as well as being the home to 2 NBA teams, an NHL team, and a WNBA team, it has a good argument. As is often the case with arenas and stadiums that are in such high demand, it has a ton of luxury suites, 3 levels of them. But it should be said that this is considered a negative by many fans. It takes away from the atmosphere. Regardless, it's a pretty good looking arena. Xcel Energy Center, Minnesota Wild. Minnesota likes to call itself the state of hockey, so it's good that the team is actually named after the state rather than the city. Actually, that's the case with the Vikings, and the Twins, and the Timberwolves, and Minnesota United as well, come to think of it. I guess that's what they do in Minnesota. The interior has a bit of an outdoor stadium look to it, almost as if each side has its own little roof. Obviously it's just for aesthetic purposes. There isn't an internal ecosystem that produces rain. Bell Center, Montreal Canadiens. This one's a little shy, hiding amongst the skyscrapers, but it shouldn't be. It's the largest ice hockey arena in the world. Come on, Bell Center, have some confidence. At least they didn't call you Bell Arena. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. Not only is it the biggest, but one of the most intimidating. They tend to go hand in hand. But that's partially due to the steep seating. It looks pretty similar to PNC Arena, but perhaps that's just the red seats playing tricks on me. She's a bit slow. Give her time.
Il a l'air assez similaire à l'arène PNC. Mais c'est peut-être juste les sièges rouges qui me jouent des tours. Elle est un peu lente.
Bridgestone Arena, Nashville Predators. It used to be known as the Gaylord Entertainment Center, home of the Predators. The interior is pretty unique. Not just the saber-tooth-shaped video boards, but this end that just decided to be different from the rest of the arena. And spare a thought for this place, it's in Nashville, so it probably has to endure a ton of country music concerts, the poor thing. Prudential Center, New Jersey Devils. That's strange. A team based in New Jersey is usually called New York. Unlike the Saddle Dome, this arena has an unusually high roof. One of the reasons it can accommodate this huge center-hung video board, which happens to be the largest of its kind in the world. Obviously those that are in a football stadium are going to be much larger, but for an arena it's enormous. The seating also rises higher along the sidelines than it does behind each goal, which I quite like. UBS Arena, New York Islanders. A brand new arena for the 21-22 season. In fact, it isn't expected to open until November. The $1.5 billion arena was built right next to Belmont Park, the famous horse racing venue. With architecture inspired by some of New York's most famous landmarks, it certainly stands out from the crowd. One feature that you don't see every day is the standing room section. Common in European football, not so much in hockey. It'll also have the steepest possible seats and very few suites, which should make for an intimate atmosphere. Madison Square Garden, New York Rangers. It's probably the most famous arena in the world, for a few reasons. It's been around forever, it's located in the heart of New York City, and of course it carries on from the legacy of its predecessors that went by the same name. But not everyone's a fan of it. I'm always hearing bad things about MSG. Just like the only other garden in this league, it too sits on top of a train station. But design-wise, it's completely different. Ironically, it's circular. And it somehow manages to look modern and very old-fashioned at the same time. I think that's the ceiling that does that. Canadian Tire Centre, Ottawa Senators. It does sound like somewhere you might buy tyres. But actually, Canadian Tire sells everything from power tools to kitchen appliances. What about furniture? Yes, and at affordable prices. The arena seems to be in the middle of nowhere, relatively speaking, a little over 20 kilometers from the town centre. That's like 13 or 14 miles. In fact, the site was actually farmland before it was built. It's quite conventional on the inside, but I always like to see that small tier of seating at the very top. Not sure why. What about vacuum cleaners? I don't know, we're done with that bit. Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia Flyers. It's part of a sports complex that hosts a team in each of the 4 major leagues. No MLS team though. It doesn't have one of the most attractive exteriors in my view, but on the inside it has a fairly clean and simple look. And I know I've probably spoken about video boards too much, but they installed a very interesting one a few years ago, with curved screens on 2 sides. PPG Paints Arena, Pittsburgh Penguins. At first glance I quite like the look of the beige brick exterior, but then I thought, damn, that's a nice church. And then I sort of lost my train of thought. Oh yes, wouldn't it be nice if they used the same brick color? The interior was supposedly based off of the Coyotes Arena, and I guess there are some similarities, but to be honest, I'm starting to get the hockey arena equivalent of Highway Hypnosis. Anyway, both are excellent arenas. SAP Center, San Jose Sharks. I prefer the nickname the Shark Tank. The TV show could have purchased the naming rights, but they said no way San Jose, it's not a prudent investment. I don't condone violence, but this guy has a very punchable face, don't you think? It's a very clean and simple double-tier design on the inside. My one gripe is that the team has teal as their main color. It's one of my favorite colors and I would have loved to have seen it represented. Climate Pledge Arena. Meet the Seattle Kraken, who are brand new for 2021. If you're wondering what's with the name Climate Pledge Arena, it's actually named after a big corporation's climate initiative. I think it might be Starbucks, they're from Seattle, so props to them. The coffee is subpar, but at least they care about the environment. A certain other Seattle-based corporation could learn something. Despite the new team, the arena is actually the oldest in the league. It has, however, undergone a major renovation, but thankfully it kept that unique exterior design, because it fits well with the name Kraken. The interior, however, was more or less completely gutted and replaced. I think it's the only arena we've seen so far that hasn't featured a center-hung video board. The arena looks really promising, and maybe it will somehow bring the Supersonics back to life. Enterprise Center, St. Louis Blues. It has something attached to it. It's a rather grandiose building, which is actually an opera house. I'm going to go ahead and assume it's the only arena in the NHL to have an attached opera house. And the opulence of the opera house clearly seeps its way into the arena. In particular, this very conspicuous section of premium seating, made up of armchairs basically. All you need now are a couple of people screaming in a foreign language, and it's no different to any of the world's finest opera houses. For hockey, I'm sure it does just fine. Amalie Arena, Tampa Bay Lightning. The facade, made mostly of stone and glass, combined with the copious amounts of palm trees about the place, makes for a good look from the outside. Easily the most unique feature that this arena can boast is the Tesla coil hanging from the rafters that can produce artificial lightning. A cool feature for sure. Just a shame about that little girl in the crowd who was wearing a metallic princess tiara. Rest in peace, Sophie. Scotiabank Arena, Toronto Maple Leafs. You're getting greedy, Scotiabank. You already have the Saddle Dome, give it to Pringles. One interesting aspect of this arena's design is that it's actually kept some of the outer structure of the old postal building that previously occupied the site. I do really love to see that. It also has an attached tower, which is something you don't see every day. But by comparison, the interior is not particularly interesting. Although I do believe that scoreboard was a remnant of the postal building as well. Rogers Arena, Vancouver Canucks. Now Rogers being greedy. Much like the last one, it has an attached tower. But also, it too was actually built to accommodate an NBA expansion team. However, the arena has outlasted the Vancouver Grizzlies by a long way. Although there's nothing extraordinary about the interior, it has an understated design that I can appreciate. T-Mobile Arena, Vegas Golden Knights. It's hard to stand out in Vegas. There's a castle, a pyramid, a couple of gold buildings. Well, that one's normal. But I think this arena does a good job at standing out without being garish. That facade made from metal panels is supposed to actually mimic the colours of the surrounding mountains, while also protecting the arena from the harsh sunlight. Las Vegas is seemingly on a mission to acquire a team in each of the major US leagues. Who'd have thunk it would have started with ice hockey? But venue-wise, it was a very auspicious start. Capital One Arena, Washington Capitals. I love the synergy. The arena is actually located in DC's Chinatown neighborhood, as the eagle-eyed amongst you may have guessed. The interior is a lot better. I hate to bring up the scoreboard yet again. I know, it's getting repetitive. But this recently installed Sky Ring looks pretty cool. It looks like a retractable camera lens that's fixated on the center of the rink. Canada Life Centre, Winnipeg Jets. It was built on the site of an iconic department store that was demolished after nearly 100 years in business. The arena's design, specifically the facade, pays tribute to its red brick construction. It's actually the smallest arena in the league, as was its predecessor. But good things come in small packages. I can imagine the locals struggle to leave this place after a game, not only because it's a nice arena, but Winnipeg hovers at a few degrees above absolute zero in winter. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.